Hello, my name is Edwin.
I'm Jeff.
Yo, it's Frantic. What's going on, guys?
Nothing much, man. It's been a week of just degenerate gaming for me.
Degenerate gaming.
Yeah.
Well,
Same.
you aren't the only degenerate this week.
Same.
But we'll get
actually.
more to that later.
I mean, we could do it right now. Frantic and I. Well, I mean, at least. I have been going to bed around 6 to
What?
7 to 8.
What?
You know?
Wow. You don't gotta
So-
out us like that, dude.
I mean, I have. I didn't out you.
Okay.
I didn't out you because I've been on a little vacation from work. I've been a complete and utter degenerate.
Well, you're going back to work though, so there's that.
Yeah, I'm going back to work tomorrow. It feels bittersweet because I don't know. I've just gotten lost in the sauce of all these strategy games, and it's been so fun to kind of just do that.
Well, aside from that, what else are we gonna talk about today?
Yeah, we got a couple of very fun topics I'm sure everybody will appreciate. We're going to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room here. Everyone's been hearing about it. The overturning of Roe v. Wade. We're going to bring that up a little bit. And we're going to talk about everyone's favorite topic, religion.
Yay!
What's that thing that
All
people
right.
say to break the ice? You talk to people about three things: politics, religion, and what else? What's the last thing? Money?
Rock and roll.
Cue the
Rock and
intro.
roll.
I don't know. I don't know if it's rock and roll.
I don't know. If someone
this
came
is a
up to you,
trifecta for rock and roll as well, isn't it? Isn't there? Sex, drugs, and
Rock and roll. Yeah.
rock and roll. There you go.
Also, is the intro playing right now? I can't hear it.
I could barely.
Yes,
hear
it is. Yeah, it
Okay,
is. Let
yeah, I
me
barely
fix
heard
that. Yeah, let me fix that for you guys. But yeah, it was definitely playing.
Okay, well, people are gonna be able to hear that, right?
Yep, we're in.
If someone comes up to you and asks you, "Hey, you want to talk about rock and roll?" Like, is that weird?
I'd be like, sure. What's your favorite band?
Is it rock and roll still? I mean, is it rock? I mean, I've never
It's
said
rock
and
and
roll.
roll. I mean,
Is that Elvis?
the Elvis movie is gonna come out. Are you guys gonna watch it?
No.
It was in theaters already. Actually,
Oh,
I
it was
just went-
already out.
Yeah, I went to the theaters today. It was already there.
I thought it was the Black Adam movie when I saw the trailer.
I'm like on the fence about watching it in theaters. I think I will watch it at some point, but I'll just wait.
Ooh,
Is that-
hold up. This is a perfect transaction for my challenge for the week, or transition for my challenge for the week.
Oh.
Oh shit,
Okay.
we're going there.
Yeah.
I mean, we have been neglecting our challenges.
Yeah, we had back-to-back bye weeks, but we're in.
All right, we're back, baby.
We're back on the challenges. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Bring us a challenge, Jeff. What's your challenge?
All right, so I want you guys to go either on Wikipedia, IMDb, or Rotten Tomatoes and watch one of the worst movies on there. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yep.
Wait. I mean, I already watched fucking Human Centipede. Why do I gotta watch some bullshit?
Hey, I looked up there and Human Centipede
that-
isn't on there, so it
That
can get
movie is
worse.
not bad, dude.
It can get worse.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. So
Yeah.
watch one of the worst movies.
Of all time.
Okay.
Of all time.
Yeah,
Isn't
dealer's
the-
choice.
Wait, isn't the Emoji Movie on there?
It is not.
What the fuck? I thought it was really badly rated.
Is Morbius gonna be on there? 'Cause
It isn't
I'll
yet,
totally-
but I would have watched Morbius too.
All right. Well, my challenge is to go swimming since it's real hot. Go swimming.
Does the bathtub count?
Hey, if you swim in the bathtub, I'll take it.
I'm just gonna lie down there while the shower hits me. Does that count? Just
No, that's not showering. You gotta be submerged in water.
Man, your challenge is first one was go to the beach, and now it's like
I
Go
said
swimming?
touch sand. It's very different. You could have gone to a sandbox at the park.
parks don't have sandboxes anymore, man. At least not
we in
here.
the ghetto, dog.
Yeah, they have wood chips.
We in the ghetto, dog. We ain't no sand over here.
have
There's
wood chips,
ways to
Frank.
touch sand. All right, there's ways.
All right,
Alright,
Edwin.
now,
hit us.
now we
anyways,
gotta,
swimming.
Now we gotta swim.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, mine's gonna be a little bit easier than both of y'all's. Mine's to bring 3 recommendations to the pod. You know, I used to give recommendations at the very early stages of our pod. I want you guys
Okay.
to bring 3 things you like and you want to recommend for the rest of the audience.
3 things. Any
Alright.
specific topic or just in
No,
general?
it could be 3, anything like a restaurant, a book, a movie, a song, whatever the fuck you want to recommend.
I'm recommending McDonald's.
Dude, go ahead
Yeah.
and fuck you. You have to talk about it though. So
All
you
right.
wanna-
Yeah, that's fair. Fair enough. We'll do that.
All right, so I'm gonna write these down for swim, and then the last one was watch the shitty movie.
Not just shitty. One of the worst movies of all time.
Mm-hmm,
Oh.
mm-hmm.
Just watch the shittiest movie of all time.
Yeah. And I guess since we're doing a little bit of house cleaning, why don't we respond to Gabriel in our comment section on the YouTube?
Shout out to the homie who's always
Yeah. Always
Always
leaving the
commenting.
comments, and
Yep.
we read them before we do the episode for sure. We just don't always talk about,
yeah. And if you
The
want your
comments.
comments addressed, then make a comment.
yeah, make a comment.
We
There it is.
usually read anything and everything somebody has to say about it. So Instagram works just fine too if you want to go that route.
Yeah, it'd be nice
YouTube.
to have a post to comment on there too.
Yeah, so this could be a fully reaction episode. Just give us the content, and then we'll just react to it. But anyways, so responding to Gabriel, his comments were, I summarized them a little bit, and it all had to do with our previous episode about not admitting when you're wrong. And so I had made a comment about not kicking people while they're down. He says, this is a summary. This is not word for word. He says, about not kicking someone while they're down, but slapping them and helping them up with that same hand. How do you guys feel about that? Kind of like I told you so, and like get back to it, kid. How do you guys feel about that?
Whenever that's happened to me, I kind of always just appreciated it in a way. Like, this could have gone worse.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like a berating, but it's I understand you made this mistake. I'm going to pick you up and, just keep going, dude.
Yeah.
So I've always appreciated that approach.
Yeah, I guess I could live with like maybe a comment or two, but whenever somebody keeps bringing it up over and over, it's like, okay, we get it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about you, Jeff? Someone I told you so? Oh yeah, Jeff's perfect actually.
Yeah, I'm the golden god over here, dude.
Yeah. And so another thing he said was that he's not totally against admitting fault, but recognizes that if you did something, it was for a real reason. So it's kind of like, yes, you regret it, but in that moment, that was your reaction or your action, and it must have came from a real emotion, right?
Yeah, I mean that's
And
fair.
Yeah, that is fair. And I mean, as far as like what that reason is, I hope it, as long as it's not really fucked up, then you just keep it pushing. But if somebody slights you and then it turns out that they just had that little resentment in their heart there for a while, then yeah, definitely something that should be addressed.
Yeah, some shit can't be taken back too,
Yeah. He kind of made it with its next point as well. He said arguing with loved ones is definitely not the move because, like, there's just no winning there. So definitely, just like what you just said, Jeff, like you say something and there's no taking it back.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, sometimes loved ones, you need to sit them the hell down. You love them, and that's why you got to sit them down.
Yeah, but you came from a place of love. If you come from a place of like pain and resentment, and then you say something that spawns from that emotion, then it's kind of hard to get past that.
Yeah, that's why you do
Yeah.
it lovingly. Sit them the fuck down lovingly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave us a challenge, but I didn't understand what it was, so we're just gonna leave it at that.
yeah. Yeah.
That's basically the
Yep.
response to Gabriel. And like Jeff said, if you guys want to, I guess, be a part of the conversation here on the podcast. Also, we haven't really said anything, but if anybody ever wants to be on the podcast for an episode or two, well, we could definitely try to make that happen.
Yep, that is also a thing.
Yep. It could be kind of cool to get a fourth person in here, maybe.
Every once in a while to kind of just mix things up, you know?
They'd have to be really interesting, though, because, I mean, the three of us is already tough as it is. So someone that can produce a lot of great conversation points.
Someone who knows how to talk, honestly, because we can't just sit here and have just, yeah.
It could be, like it could be intimidating because I remember back in the first episodes that when it was like, like like he would talk and, like he would,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I still do, that's one of the things that,
yeah, I know.
Yeah. If we ever get shirts, I'll put, on it because you do know, obviously.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that you mentioned that one of your neighbors was kind of giving you some pricing on merch.
Yeah, he wanted to see if we wanted shirts for our pod.
Does he do stickers?
I don't think so.
Damn.
But could he embroider stuff on snapbacks?
Yeah, he can embroider stuff in snapbacks, but the order has to be about 24. And I don't wear hats, so that's gonna be.
Is that 24 hats as well?
Yeah.
Oh yikes! Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
we're gonna have to find.
Out.
Yeah. So maybe a shirt would be the easiest thing. Who doesn't like a t-shirt?
We'd have to get them in men's and women's, and then in various sizes.
Oof.
It'll be tough, but we'll get there when we'll get there.
Well, we'll see if we have any demand. Actually, we can figure out. Put it on our Instagram. Hey, would you guys want a?
We gotta use our listeners as walking billboards.
Yeah. Like, hey man, what's that tilted knot shirt shirt you got going on there?
That's a sick shirt, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the new tribal tattoo of the 2022.
The travel tattoo. What does that mean?
Back in early 2000s, everybody was getting tribal tattoos.
Oh, tribal. I thought you said travel.
No, tribal.
Okay.
Ah, okay.
Those bands around people's arms?
Yeah.
In black ink.
The bands? What bands? Okay, yeah, dude, I know, totally. Anyways,
everybody knows.
Let's get to the a little bit of news.
Man, that sound always throws me off.
Which one? This one? Anyways, so before we get to the main news, because everybody kind of knows what happened this past week, but
a little bit of editorializing though, real quick.
What happened?
Did your voice just go weird, Jeff? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard some roboting.
I think it's just because of the internet connection potentially, but
okay, it's not.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
well, okay,
it's
cool,
fine.
Cool.
Anyways, so living paycheck to paycheck. So I thought this was a pretty interesting. I grabbed it off of Reddit r/news, and the article title kind of interests me. So it says here, as of May, 58% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, according to a new report, and that's kind of insane because this is up from 54% back in May of 2021. So if you think about it, the pandemic and everything in 2020, 2021, we should be getting better, but it looks like things are getting worse. And I mean, all of us in our day-to-day, we all recognize and we all see the gas prices going up, rents are going up, food's going up. The food thing is crazy. Have you guys gone to the grocery store?
Yeah.
No.
The prices are going the same item that you were purchasing maybe a couple of months back. It's up $1 or $2 straight up.
Or it's the same price but smaller.
Yeah, it's just the same. They're not giving you anything more. You're just getting less bang for your buck. So
a whole chicken is $20 now?
Yeah, what? It's getting tough out here, man.
I've seen it at 7, 10. Now it's about 20, 25.
Shout outs to inflation. Oh yeah.
Yeah, inflation's kicking our ass, man. And the thing that I thought was really interesting here is that in this article it says that even the top earners are facing some issues here with inflation. Where let's see, of those earning 250K or more, 30% are living paycheck to paycheck. I don't know what kind of
Oh boo-hoo! They have to pay off their
I don't
expensive
know.
ass mansion that
I
they
don't
probably
know.
couldn't afford to begin with,
I
or
don't know
their
what
fucking
kind of
fancy
expenses
car.
they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what kind of expenses they have that they're paycheck to paycheck on a 250K salary. But
Yeah, these are the
but
people
hey,
that didn't know
there
how
it
to
is.
budget beforehand and still don't know how to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for those people. You need to figure your life out. I mean, well, there's that phenomenon, right, that happens that as your wage increases, your whole life kind of
Like your
moves
quality of
up.
life.
Your not your quality of life, but the way you live your life also changes. You know,
Okay.
so you get more money and you're gonna start kind of using it. You're still gonna use it. It's not like we have a frugal mindset because we in the ghetto, you know, and we're just gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna use this much and I'm gonna save the rest.
Yeah.
When you have that much more spendable income, you're gonna use it.
Well, even
True.
just a logistical standpoint, right? Say you leave 10% of your paycheck to do whatever you want. Even if you're making way more money and you're still just keeping 10% to do whatever you want, that's a significant increase in money that you have. Right? Say you're making 50,000 now, 5,000 to do whatever you want, and then you're making 200,000, that's 20,000 to do whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't know.
I see what you're saying. I
Drop
think
Coke.
I think the biggest issue here is just like the real money value, right? Like you have money sitting in your bank, and currently, well, not everyone does, but I'm just saying, like for those who have savings, right? You have it kind of tucked away there, just chilling, and you could kind of really start feeling that money is actually worth less now because of just how expensive everything else is. And so it's kind of crazy.
So I am not a financial advisor,
Okay.
but just by having your money in a savings account, you are losing money to inflation. And especially with inflation going up even higher, you're losing just that much more. But I mean, there's nothing to put that money in either. You know, the stocks are going to shit.
This is Jeff,
yeah.
not a
financial advisor.
Not a financial advisor, not a financial advice.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, shit's getting crazy, and so the last point here, the consumer price index, which is a key inflation gauge, rose 8.6% in May from a year ago, which is the highest increase since December 1981. So,
and I still don't believe those numbers. It's probably higher.
This is some historical. We're living in some real historical times, y'all. Back when, in the future, when we're all old and we're talking to like,
this is
I
just
don't know,
another
several
one of the global
generations down.
crisis.
Yeah, well, we're like, they'll talk. You know, like the young folks will ask us like, "Hey, how are the 2020s?"
The Roaring 20s.
The Roaring 20s.
Part 2,
Ooh,
Electric Boogaloo.
They did roar.
So far, we have pandemic, crazy political shit.
Yeah,
and,
our rights being stripped.
Inflation popping off as well. So stay safe out there, y'all. And with that, let's get to the real meat on this bone.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, if you don't know already, so the Supreme Court justices of the United States of America,
6-3.
6-3.
Party lines.
They overturned the Roe v. Wade decision that, among other things, basically made it a constitutional right to an abortion. And justifyingly so, everybody's outraged, and there was protests in LA and in other cities, and and the internet obviously blew up and went crazy. You had people on both sides. I saw people on both sides on my Instagram. Some of them saying, "Hey, like, oh my God, y'all are so dramatic. Like nothing's happening. The states are like the Supreme Court basically said, hey, the federal government isn't going to mandate this. This is on a state level. Each state will decide what to do. Y'all are tripping." And then you had the other side kind of just saying, how do guns have more rights than women? And it's definitely a mixed bag for me personally. Not in that it's right for what they did. It's more of there's still a chance for things to go well for a lot of states. And unfortunately, I still do believe that there will be some really conservative states that are going to full on ban abortions.
I think Missouri already did that, right?
Yeah, there was a couple of states that had trigger laws, basically, that as soon as Roe v. Wade was overturned, they wanted to just flip that switch and just say no more abortions. If you give an abortion or you get one, you're going to jail. And yeah, the government basically came out and said like the trigger laws and stuff is not a thing. But I didn't really look too much more into that. Do you guys have any thoughts you guys want to share for those at home listening?
I mean, what more can be said, dude? It's fucking bullshit. It is so fucking stupid. The audacity of these fucking people, man.
They said that it was an important precedent, by the way, when they were the Supreme Court justices, especially the last two, Kavanaugh and Barrett, when they were facing the what is it called? I know it's like a committee of sorts.
It's like a judicial hearing, no? Something like that.
Yeah, judicial hearing. Yeah, so they were asked, obviously, like if they were gonna uphold these very important court cases. One of them being Roe v. Wade, and they said that these were very important precedents. Which I don't know if they ever said specifically, "I will never overturn this." So some people are kind of saying like, yo, these guys are lying under oath. Like, what the fuck is this? I don't know if it's straight up lying. I do think it's misleading though.
I think it's a lie of omission.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Just a little bit of an interesting point here, because I saw a clip of Ocasio-Cortez. I don't agree with a whole lot of things she says, but she said something very, very interesting, and I had to do a little bit of digging just to do a little fact check, because I don't want to come on here, I'm very factually based, I'm based. Anyways, she made a point saying that in the past, I think she said 30 years, that a Republican president has only won a popular election once in the past 30 years, something along those lines. And given that there's a current 6-3 party lines, basically, type shit going on at the Supreme Court. So if you're basically, the point she's making, in the past 30 years, only one Republican president has won with popular vote, meaning that the current Supreme Court makeup is completely off compared to what the majority of Americans want.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very, very good point. So I looked this up, and looks like the last Republican president that
Ronald
won...
Reagan.
No.
Was it? God, was it Nixon?
No, it was
Bush.
George
Bush?
George W. Bush.
Yeah, it was Bush.
Wait,
Yeah,
really?
back in 2004, he won 62 million to 59 million versus John Kerry.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, he's a very forgettable guy.
Now watch this drive. Have you guys seen that video? Now watch this drive.
No, but interesting point to bring up. That was all 9/11, right?
Was it?
Yeah,
2004.
yeah, because this was this was basically
after.
reactionary. Yeah, this was after 9/11, so it's all reactionary. It's like, hey, he's our president. He's gonna see this through.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So this was on the second election. The first election, George W. Bush actually lost a popular vote to Al Gore. Remember that guy?
Yeah, and they did a recount. I
In
remember
Florida.
that.
Yep.
Stop the count. I demand a
They did
recount.
yeah,
Anyways.
they did a recount in Florida.
So before George W. Bush Jr., before he won in his second term back in 2004, the only other, well, the how do I want to say this? If George W. Bush wins in 2004, his dad back in 1988 was the previous Republican president that had won the popular vote. And yeah, that was back in 1988. So what's the maths on that?
Oh God, I just realized how long 30 years
34.
ago is. We're
Yeah,
fucking
that
old.
was about 34 years ago, give or take.
By God, we're old.
So
I thought I thought 30 years ago was still the 80s.
that was a very, very good point. And yeah, that is very indicative of what's going on.
The fact that I was cognizant enough to remember that George Bush was that guy is that we are old.
Yes, we are
That I
old.
knew this from when I was a child.
Yeah, so we're gonna keep getting more of those moments. Don't you worry, Edwin.
Jesus.
Another thing I want to talk about with all this Supreme Court stuff, I kind of wanted to see, like, okay, who the hell are even the people in the Supreme Court? So I'll try to speed this up a little bit so you guys aren't super bored at home. But basically, on the Democrat side, you got Breyer back in 1994 by Clinton, who will be replaced in July 2022, by the way, by Justice Jackson via Joe Biden. So Joe Biden is gonna get he's gonna get one of his own guys in there, so that's cool. They're gonna keep the. It's kind of stupid to say, but the Supreme Court, there are biases. They're supposed to be neutral. But anyways, Breyer, Democrat leaning, will be replaced by another Democrat leaning justice. Cool beans. You have Sotomayor and Kagan by Obama. And that's it. So you got 3 Democrats in there, or air quotes Democrats. And then you go on to the Republican side. You got Thomas by H.W. Bush. You got Roberts and Alito by George W. Bush. And this was one that was kind of interesting to me. So Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett are all by Trump. So Trump actually got 3 Supreme Court justices in there.
Yeah, I think the first one, the Republicans cried because Obama wanted to put someone in, and they were like, "Oh, you can't do it during election year, no." And then it got postponed, and then Trump got that pick, and then I don't know the second one, but then Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and then he got that one during the election year.
Mm-hmm. So I had made comments before about how, like, Trump didn't really change much, and at the end of the day, whatever, we're all fine, everything's fine, the country moves forward, it's done.
He got 3 seats.
He got 3 seats, dude. That is huge. That is huge, especially because it's not just like putting people in there, but it's the fact that you replace one side and you add the other. It's like a 2-point swing. So what are you guys thinking that's gonna happen going forward? If it's 6-3, there's no shot. There's no shot for the Democrat side.
This feels like a horrible House of Cards episode, like a season of House of Cards right now that is gone off the rails. I don't know, dude. We're literally getting held hostage.
So if we as a country
feel a little bit like that,
live in a system of checks and balances, what is the checks and balance to the Supreme Court?
Yeah, isn't it the people? The people are entitled to,
I mean, they're not. We're not, because they're not. They're appointed. They're not elected.
Yeah, so the check and balance there is that the Supreme Court isn't supposed to be able to make laws. They're supposed to just interpret the ones that are currently like up for debate, I guess. So the check and balance there is that that Congress is supposed to be the one putting bills forward. So I don't know if Congress is going to be able to put anything forward, considering that they kind of just overturned a very important, precedent that it's kind of like the pillar to a lot of other laws and a lot of other things that we do. And so I don't know how we go moving forward here.
Couldn't the Supreme Court just shut down anything Congress,
No,
ships out?
They can't
No,
just
they can't do
they
that.
can't just straight up do that either.
because it goes to
Oh,
Congress,
okay.
from Congress to the Senate to the president, and he signs it into law.
Okay.
And then the judges are basically there once there's a court case, and then they're kind of more so there for the Constitution rather than the laws, right? They apply the Constitution to the laws and make sure that it holds up. Something along those
yeah,
lines.
that
Someone
sounds-
I'm sure knows a lot more than I
Yeah,
do.
the people of the podcast can tell us if
Yeah,
we're wrong
yeah.
or not.
So interesting times. Do you guys know if there's anything else coming down the pipeline? Anything else that
I feel like
Just kinda
with
fuck
this
things up.
the whole abortion thing should be on everybody's mind, and not just women. It should be our LGBTQ community. They should definitely be worried about this precedent because of what happens next. They've hinted at same sex marriage, and where do they stop from there, dude? Like, honestly, you just keep going down and taking people's rights left. I was gonna say rights left and right, but you know what I mean. That doesn't. Yeah, it's fucked up. Everybody should be enraged by this, not just women. This is not just affecting women. It's not my issue. That's not. It's like, oh, it doesn't affect me. Therefore, I'll just turn around and do something else with my life. It affects everybody.
Yep. And I don't know all the other implications, because right now it's a lot of the focus has been on the whole abortion issue. So I don't know what else Roe v. Wade is protecting as well. So in the coming weeks, we'll probably hear more about all that stuff as well. There's got to be a
It's
lot
a-
of ramifications for this.
It's a whole welfare issue too, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have kids people can't sustain. You just have a really bad economic issue in your hands.
Those same
know,
people that supported overturning Roe v. Wade are the same ones that are telling the mothers, "Hey, you need to find a way to feed that child. We don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah,
Feed that
my
child
tax-
somehow. Yeah, who cares? My taxes
Yeah.
aren't going to feed it.
Exactly.
We want you to keep the baby, but what you do with it afterwards is on you."
Yeah, and then my taxes is one of those things that, always gets brought up, regardless, especially in my line of work. I pay for your salary, bitch. No, you don't. It's one of those things, man, that it's crazy. If people are so concerned about their taxes, right? That's one of those things that directly gets affected. And then what happens to all these neglected kids? My background is, without saying much else, my background just doesn't allow me to view these in a very positive light. You know what I'm saying? I can't be out here just saying, hey, everything will be fine. It's just, no, it just doesn't work like that. There's people that suffer through this, and they suffer emotional damage that is irreparable at some points. These kids, if they don't receive the attention that they need in their formative stages of life, then we got a problem of, different proportions when it comes to these people being adults.
weird times we're living in right now. And I guess all we have right now is to hope that the states basically uphold their end of the bargain and they respect the popular votes of the people out there. But it's messy. It is messy. And speaking of messy, I guess we'll just go straight into religion talk, because a lot of people, their whole argument of like in the pro-life, pro-choice matter, a lot of the pro-life conversation.
Let's call them anti-choice from now on.
Well,
Yeah.
what's wrong with pro-life?
It gives them reassurance, kind of thing.
It makes them sound like they're good guys.
Yeah, because they're
In
not.
their eyes, they probably are,
but they're not. Like we just said, like they're forcing you to have this child, but then afterwards they wash their hands of it.
So anti-choicers, I don't know. I haven't heard that one before. But anyways, so choice or no choice, whatever you want to call it, a lot of the arguments are based around religion, which is a very, very weird thing to do, because I thought we weren't really supposed to govern through religion anymore.
Yeah, separation of church and state.
So I don't know where the hell that happened, but I guess people have morals that don't allow them to see any other point of view where it might be more favorable for women to just go ahead and choose for themselves rather than have the Bible, for example, tell them what to do. What are your guys' thoughts on religion? Does it still have a place?
When I was a kid, we used to go to church every Sunday. And
Same.
we used to go to church every Sunday, and I'd always get a headache because, as I was always told as a child, is because I never listened, and it all sounded like noise to me. And therefore, I got a headache. But I always got a headache in church. It always made me really upset to go to church because I always ended up with a headache. And everybody would just be like, "Oh, you're not listening, man. You're just not listening." And when you start listening, you realize how much hatred is veiled within love and compassion under these words. It's when I started listening, I listened pretty hard when I was in college. I became a born again Christian, and I listened pretty damn hard. And I was very excited to finally be at peace with my life, to bring in God into my life, because before then, you told me God has a plan for you, and it would enrage me. It would piss me the hell off. If God was good and benign, if God was here for me and showing me who I am as a person, why did he do the things he did to me as I grew up? I was really angry at God whenever someone said, "Hey, God's here for you." No, he wasn't. And all of a sudden, right, when I became a happy person, when I moved past all my trauma, but moved past all my emotional baggage, I accepted God for a short bit, only to be reassured of what the things that I already knew. Was that, I've always been very simpatico, very sympathetic of the LGBTQ community. I've always been just, I fucking love gay people, dude. They're so cool.
Hey,
right?
yo. No, I'm
Yeah,
just
man,
kidding.
they're cool. They're cool as fuck, right? And one of those things that in Christianity, it was just like, I met gay Christians. And the fact that they were always struggling with that was heartbreaking for me as a person that was like, oh, my life is great now. Therefore, I can accept God into my life. And in reality, all I wanted was the community that came with it. Right? Like-minded individuals being like about positivity, about love, when in reality, everybody was trying to save each other from some bullshit, whether it is you're gay, you're black, you're this or the other.
Mm-hmm.
This shit was very real under the surface, you know? It was pretty insane to hear people talk about you converted a black person. Like, that's fucking awesome. Now they're on our side. And it's just like, what the fuck?
does that?
Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah, I would hear this kind of shit. I would hear, like the gay people that I met were just like constantly in flux with like, I shouldn't feel this way. This isn't natural. But if you're having these thoughts, that's as natural as it gets, dude. That's who you are. It's fucking insane to just be so. I mean, I met a couple of Mormon folks, and they were telling me about race and religion within that sector, right? It's fucking insane. It's intense. They call this thing the darkness. And the darkness is one of those things that until you are saved by a Mormon, right? You're going there to be, it's a purgatory of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
And black people are automatically in it.
By default?
By default.
What?
Damn, all right. Joseph Smith was an asshole. All right.
So I'm fucking telling you, man, that this shit is not about love. This shit is not love that is being spread. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck are we doing with our nation, running it with these ideologies that, they need to be changed? Like, another thing that happened to me while I was in religion, I asked, why is it that we can't change some of these rules that we are being taught and accept people from the LGBTQ community? And the answer I got shook me to my core. It was, if society is corrupting around you, are you going to corrupt with it?
What?
If society is falling apart around you, are you going to give in to the corruption that is spreading through your society? Or are you going to remain pure?
Well, when you put it that way.
And
that shit's wild, yo. What the fuck? What are they on?
I'm telling you, man. This shit, like, my experience with religion, I wanted something positive. I wanted to be saved. I wanted to, hey, God, drag me through fucking shit so that I can be here and be grateful. And that's literally what everyone was telling me. Man, we're so glad you're here. We're so glad you finally got here, brother, so that you can be an inspiration to all of us and everybody around you. And I was like,
God wouldn't put these challenges in front of you, brother, if he didn't know that you had the strength.
Hell yeah,
to get
brother.
through it.
Exactly. And now that you have the strength, fucking tell the whole world about it. That's the shit that I was like, fuck yeah, man. That is fucking awesome. That feels fucking great. And in reality, that's not how that goes. Oh, man. Sorry if I went on a little too long there.
No, you're good. Hey, thanks for sharing, man.
Yeah. Man.
So,
what is religion for me, I wonder? Because my family is very Catholic. Well, at least like my grandma's generation. My mom's generation and all, like, her sisters, her siblings, and then, my generation now, we're all very against the Catholic Church now, so it's kind of interesting how we kind of flipped on that. I used to go to church as well, and church was cool. Like, as a kid, you obviously, Catholic church is really boring, so you're just kind of sitting there, kind of waiting for it to end, and then you shake people's hands and, cool beans, whatever. And then you go home and, from church, you went to go eat together at either like something cheap or a restaurant, doesn't matter. But going to church meant like, okay, this is the time that we're going to spend as a family. So that part I enjoyed. I thought it was fine. I'll stay here for an hour. It's fine. As I grew older and as I was getting closer to like graduating high school and even like a few years after, I was going to church heavily every Sunday. Without a doubt, I was there. And I would listen to what was being said. And although I didn't, although I wasn't fully 100% committed to everything that was being said, I would just, it's kind of like a tree, and I would just kind of grab at the fruits that I thought were like, okay, this is a good gem. This is cool. Hey, that's pretty positive. I'm going to take that and I'm going to, I'm going to apply it to my life. Cool. Because whenever they would tell the stories, I thought the stories were the most interesting part. Not really so much like the father interpreting shit and like kind of talking about like, the bigger picture of it all. I was more so there for the stories because the stories were kind of cool sometimes. And then I kind of, as I got even older and things were coming up on the news about like all the controversies and like the misconducts and the child touching and the just the overall complete corruption of the Catholic Church, and we probably don't even know the half of it. I was confronted with the fact that going to church and receiving the word from all these corrupt men, because they have to be men, which was already kind of weird to me. They're like, well, why can't there be women? Anyways, I understood that they weren't all bad, but supporting the Catholic Church is basically you kind of like supporting the Vatican, which is like one of the richest entities in the world, which again is insane for a religion to be considered one of the richest institutions in the world, when it's supposed to be about giving and helping, the poor and etc. etc. Anyways, as I got older, I was just like, you know what? All of this feels very hypocritical, and all of this feels like this ain't it, Chief. Like we say that this like Christianity and all this is the way to go to heaven. That's when I really started thinking, you know what? Like does heaven really exist? And if it does, is this the way to do it? So I ended up just using religion more as like a moral compass at times, and just making sure that I utilize the good stuff, and then when other people have different upbringings and then they have their own religions and their own kind of ideas about the way things should be respectful enough to like not try to convert anyone to my ideals, because people like will do whatever the hell they want anyway. So that's my basically kind of story behind religion in my life.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to sound like a broken record, but growing up, I went to church every Sunday, right? I was raised in a very Catholic household. My mom is still very Catholic to this day. And I guess I was never really against religion, but I was very against actually being at church as a child. I never wanted to go.
Be in the house of God?
No, I never wanted to go. It was always incredibly boring. Everything the priest said it went in one ear and right out the other. And it didn't help that the sermon was in Spanish. So that's already limiting my understanding to it. So that's like half the sermon that I'm even understanding. Right? So I would always tell her like, I don't want to go. And she's like, well, you have to go. Right? And this was my entire childhood, me being forced to go to church. And then when I got older, when I got into high school, this was still a thing, right? I'm still living under her house, her rules. So it's like, I'm being forced to go to church every week. And that came to like a tipping point in college when I was finally like, you know what? I'm not going to church anymore. And it upset my mother. She was like, "What do you mean you're not going to church?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not going to church anymore. I'm just not going to do this."
Do they still go?
Kinda. Yeah. I mean, her and my sister used to go every week before the pandemic. And now they don't do it as much because of that ever since.
You guys being raised Catholic, did you guys go through your confirmation and first communion?
I did my baptism when I was like 4 or 5. So yeah, I was very late to the baptism. I still remember some of it. But I did my first communion when I was like 9 or 8. So people didn't believe me when I went up to get the wafer. It would always piss me off. That's another reason why I hated church, because it would always piss me off when I was standing there for communion. And they're like, "Are you first communion?" And I'm like, "Yes. Give me the damn fucking cracker and let me go on with my day."
It was because I also am baptized, and I did my first communion as well. And the communion was a bit of an interesting point, because some people would say, "Oh yeah, you should go for it every time, because it's the body and the blood of Christ, and that's how you it's part of the way for you to kind of, quote unquote, wash away a little bit of the impurities. Obviously, you still need to go confess." And with the whole confessing thing, some people said you need to confess first, and once you feel like you're worthy of the body and the blood of Christ, then you should go. So it's a very interesting dynamic, for sure.
Did you ever drink from the chalice?
Of course.
I never did. I always skipped
Of
it.
course. I took a big old gulp.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me tell you guys a story. Your baptism.
Mhm.
You know, Mexico usually the tradition is you have to baptize your kids soon before they're 1, because childhood mortality was so high in that nation that if your child died and it wasn't baptized, it wasn't going to heaven.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of the things
stuck
that
in purgatory. I learned
Yeah.
that when I played Dante's Inferno.
So you had to baptize your kid as soon as possible.
Shout outs to Gabriel.
That's why it was one of those things, right? So I got baptized as a Catholic because that was what we practiced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this isn't my mother that did this to me, but I was denied my first communion as punishment for being a bastard.
Wow.
So
All
yeah,
right. Well,
They were really, really old fashioned.
so
Oh,
that
shit.
person that was taking care of me at the time denied me my first communion for the single fact that I didn't have a father. And that I deserved to go to hell. Isn't that great? Isn't that
Isn't that
fucking
just
lovely?
loving?
Isn't that peachy keen, everybody?
Isn't that just so
Yeah, so
good?
I never did my first communion because I was denied that.
Well, you ain't
So-
missing out on
Yeah,
much.
you ain't missing
Yeah,
much.
exactly, right? So I'm out here
Did you-
just,
Did you have to go to catechism, Frank?
Yeah, of course.
God, that was boring as
I
hell.
went to
dude.
school. The school was cool. It was fine.
It was every Monday for us at like night. Just more boring shit.
Yeah, I was very receptive of it all. I wasn't there like, oh God, I hate church. I hate everything about it. I did my best to be the good example to the family, because since I was the oldest, it was one of those things of like, if I go to church, then it's the example that my brothers need to go as well. Because the
Dude,
moment that I said no mas, it was like, gasp.
Yeah, you get a fresh ass outfit at the end of it all, right? That all white.
all white suit
I
that you
mean,
only wear
that
once.
That shit's not gonna fit you. So
Yeah.
You get that all white suit, dude, and the little comb over. Nice.
yeah.
Godparents that never
it's,
call you.
It's cool. The godparents part was cool, and yeah, like they didn't really give me much money, so that's kind of a bummer. It's kind of like they either give you money or they give you a lot of good counsel, and I guess I received some counsel, so I'll accept that.
I was
That's good
abandoned
enough.
basically by my baptism ones.
Your godparents just don't.
Yeah,
They don't
not-
even.
The baptism godparents, they don't even acknowledge me. They acknowledge my sister, which is nice. So
Oh,
whatever.
Shit. It's because you stopped going to church, dude.
maybe. Yeah. Hey,
They
whatever.
can't be your godparents. You don't go to church.
Isn't this a lifelong commitment where if at any point you become orphan, these people are supposed to take over your welfare?
Yeah,
Supposed
and
to,
that's what's
yeah.
supposed to happen in like Catholic shit. But I mean, we're grown ass men. at
I
this
mean,
point.
yeah, we don't need these people
We
in
don't
our
need 'em.
lives, but I mean, that's funny. What a great Christian you are. A Catholic.
Catholic.
What a great
yeah.
Catholic you are if you abandon your. I don't know, man. It's a lot of. I mean, I also grew up with Catholicism like around me, and it was a lot of hypocrite shit. It was just like, oh yeah, I'll just ask for forgiveness, you know. Fucking drank my nuts off, and I'm gonna beat my wife. I'll ask for forgiveness on Sunday.
Oh,
And
that
it
was
was-
the good stuff right there. When
Ooh.
we would know like who's cheating on who, and then who's the abusive husband to who. It's like, oh damn.
Fun fact though, you can do some shit that's unforgivable. I've heard stories.
Oh.
I've heard stories where they're like, yeah, they didn't accept my confession. They told me to fuck
Fuck.
off, and I'm like, damn, what you do?
Excommunicated? Did they
Um,
become? Did they become excommunicated or what? What happens then?
I'm sure they worked it out. I'll tell you a little more after this.
No amount of Hail Mary saved them.
Yeah, I'll tell you more after this. But
Oh
Yeah.
man, oh
Dude-
man, sounds like incest to me.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But
confessions
I mean,
were always
okay.
wild, dude. I never knew what the fuck to say. Like, what do I tell
alright,
these people?
So
Yeah, we're not
guess
even
that-
getting into like just real quick, just like all the different sects and all the different like SECT sects,
Sex.
not
Oh, like,
sects.
okay.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like all the different. What would you call them? Variations of Christianity, like Jehovah's Witness and like all of those guys. Anyways, that's a whole nother rabbit hole of different like rules and regulations among those religions as well, just under the umbrella of Christianity. And
in college, all right. So in college, this is a funny story about being raised Mexican, and also not being raised Christian. In
okay.
college, I had a crush on a Christian girl, right? It was I was like, oh yeah, you know, whatever, right? So I went to her house. We had dinner with her family. All family wanted to meet me, right?
Oh,
So we all sat
no.
around the table, right? And one of them, I think the dad asked me, "Hey, can you pass me the salt?" Now, as a Mexican person, you're always raised not to give people salt to their hands. You
What?
just don't. You just
Say
don't hand it.
what?
Yeah. It's-
Yeah, I never heard that one.
So
Why you
so
put
that's
it on
one-
the table close to
you
them
put-
or what?
Yeah, you put it on the table close to them so that they may pick it up.
Okay.
Because there's a superstition, right? This is a great superstition in Mexico that if you pass somebody the salt, there's a saying, "No me pases la sal," right? That is
Okay.
bad luck, you know, just really shit, just a shitty thing to do, passing somebody salt because you give them bad luck, essentially,
Okay.
right? So she's like, "Hey, can you pass me the salt?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I picked it up, and in my head, I'm like, I should give it to her in her hand, right? But I thought maybe I'll put it on the table. So I put it on the table.
Did you put
This
it on
is-
the table next to her open hand? Because that sounds hilarious if you did.
Yeah, I did. I'll put it right on the table so that she could just close her hand and pick it up, right? And she's like, "Excuse me, why'd you do that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's a Mexican thing. I'm sorry." Right? These people were Cuban. I was like, "Oh, it's a Mexican thing. I'm sorry about that." And it's like, "Oh, can you explain a little bit about that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a superstition, whatever." And as soon as I said superstition, the whole table fucking exploded, dude. It was like, "What the fuck did you just say? In my house," kind of thing. And I was like, "Oh,
Oh
superstition."
damn, dude, you brought in the negative vibes.
It was
The
like,
bad
I was
juju.
like, a superstition? And they're like, in this household, we do not believe in superstitions. We believe in God. And I was like, oh, well, fuck, if you say it that way, man, shit, me too. Why we out here? Why we out here fronting? I'm sorry. And it became a huge deal. And then I was just like, well, there goes that, right?
Well, it's time to hit the old dusty trail.
Yep. That was
some
a funny
people
story.
take it way too far, and some people try to basically impose those religious ideas onto others that just really don't care.
Yeah,
kinda
I don't
just
take it
to-
as ultimately negative. I think it's fucking hilarious, actually. I think that whole thing, I could laugh at it again,
It's
but
toxic, dude. It's toxic. We're living in different times now, and conservatives are going to try to conservate as much as they can, but this wave is I think it's too strong. The world is changing rapidly, and it ain't like it was before. Just put it that way.
Yeah, we aren't a God-fearing country no more.
Well, we still fear God.
Some people do.
We
yeah.
definitely do.
why is there fucking money saying God we trust?
That started in like the 1700s and was never changed.
You
But
gotta
can we
give hope to
stop?
the people.
Money is the most godless thing in the fucking world.
Wait, what? What about money?
Money's godless, dude. Like, there's no faith.
Some say it's the root of all evil. As I clutch my pearls.
Your expensive pearls.
Yes.
Yet, yet we give it to the church. There we go.
Deep.
So that they could purify. Don't you know that when you give them the money, they'll do the prayer for the money? They bless it, dude.
Oh, dude, I never paid attention during that.
Yeah, they bless it.
The only time I paid attention during church was during Easter, because then I started hearing some System of a Down lyrics.
What?
Yeah, Father, why have you forsaken me? In your eyes forsaken me.
That's your religious music.
Yes.
Yeah,
in your
the
thoughts
only-
forsaken me. In your heart forsaken me.
Not the only prayer I still remember is because of Metallica. Now I lay me down to rest. I pray the Lord my soul to. Fuck it, I don't even remember it anymore.
Like
But
the
the lyric.
sleeping one.
I pray the Lord my
Yeah.
soul to keep.
The
To
sleeping
keep.
prayer.
If I
yeah.
die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Yeah.
Hush,
Enter-
little baby, don't say. Yeah, it's a good song.
Enter Sandman.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up here. I think that's a good spot to end it on. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah,
before
listen to
we-
Enter Sandman. It's a good song. It's a great
It
song.
is a good song. It is a good song. And you brought up System of a Down, and I listened to all their albums today while at work. It was great. I was
Oh, yeah.
jamming out.
Isn't Enter Sandman about Moses too? I think it's a religious song. Well, not
Probably.
religious song, but it's a song that has religious stories,
Yeah.
storytelling. But it's a Master of Puppets is the Moses one, I think. I don't know. Anyways,
Closing thoughts, guys.
Mariano Rivera was a great closer.
yeah, I
That
wanna
wanna
apologize
wow.
for calling our last podcast a highly Christian podcast. You know what? Fuck that, dude. We're separating church and state.
You're
We ain't the state.
making
Well,
me clutch my
you're-
pearls
well-
again.
Well, Jeff and I ain't the state.
We
I
are
don't know
the
about
law.
you.
What we say goes in this podcast. We are the law.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right.
Well, if there are no other closing thoughts, then I guess that'll bring us to the end of the episode.
You can reach us at our website, tiltednotsir.com, or at our Instagram. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube.
Remember to join us to share your questions and voice your thoughts on what has you tilted, not stirred.
See you in Never Neverland.
Never ever land.
Yeah.
Did I get too heavy at the end there?
Nah, you're fine.
Heavy.
All right.
We brought it back with Metallica.
Nah, we're
Oh, yeah.
fine, dude. God bless America.